Thank you. Thank you. It is a pleasure to be with you. This is actually my fourth country and fifth engagement in almost 3 weeks. But I also ask the question, okay, well, what's next? Right? What's next? Because experiences can be commoditized as well. In fact, experiences may be the easiest economic offering to commoditize because the second time you have an experience doesn't tend to be as good as the first. Third time, not as good as that. And if you get customers saying, been there, done that, that's the hallmark of a commoditized experience. So using the same heuristic where customization is the antidote to commoditization. Commoditization is like the law of gravity. If you do nothing else, right, you will be commoditized over time. Customization lifts you up. You can't help but be differentiated, meaning not a commodity, if you customize your offerings for individual customers. So what happens when you customize an experience? You design an experience that's so appropriate for this particular person, exactly the experience now that they need at this moment in time. Well, then you can't help but turn into what we often call a life-transforming experience. An experience that changes us in some way, and that I call a transformation. So a transformation is the fifth and final economic offering, this progression of economic value. We're using experiences as the raw material to guide people to change, to help them achieve their aspirations, to help them become a new you, to help them undergo a metamorphosis. Naturally, many businesses are naturally in the transformation business. Think about fitness centers. Why do people go to fitness centers and endure all of that work, sweat, and pain? Because they think the gain will be worth it. They want to become more fit, right? That's their aspiration, whether they go from flabby to fit, to lose 20 pounds, to fit into the swimsuit they fit in last summer, right? Whatever it might be. That's their aspiration. Or why do people go back to business school? And people can spend tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars in getting an MBA. Well, is it because of the ideas that they get in business school? Right? They're commodities, because all of them have the same ideas because the professors have to publish. Or no, that's not it. Is it because of the books and other accoutrements of the MBA experience that they have to get? Right? That's not why they go. Is it for the teaching in class and the homework analysis that professors do? Well, that's closer to what they want. Is it for that classroom experience? Or for the overall experience of the MBA environment that they're getting? Well, that's closer to what they want. But in fact, nobody goes to get back to school to get an MBA and spend tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars unless they want to be transformed. They want different skills, different capabilities, different knowledge. They want to have a different career, different earning potential. They want to be a different person. And that's why they go. One business school that recognizes the London Business School, where John Quelch once told Fast Company magazine that we're not in the education business, we're in the transformation business. We expect everyone who participates in the program at the London Business School, whether it's for 3 days or for 2 years, to be transformed by the experience. That's a different mindset. That's a different business. That's a different economic offering. You have companies like GlaxoSmithKline, now that they spun off into Haleon, their consumer business, earlier this year, but they make Nicorette gum, Nicoderm CQ patches. Everyone who buys their physical goods wants to be transformed. From what to what? Right, from smoker to non-smoker. That's their aspiration. Well, they did a study years ago and found that the people who buy their physical goods, only 24% of them ever achieve that aspiration of quitting smoking. Right, it's pretty pitiful. Why? Because it's really hard. Right, it's really hard to quit smoking. So what they did is they designed a transformational program called MyQuit, built around the physical goods that they sell. But in addition, they do a diagnosis up front about why you want to quit and when you most crave cigarettes and so forth. They give you ongoing tips and inspiration and helping you achieve that aspiration. And when you go through MyQuit versus just using the goods, you have a 50% greater likelihood of achieving your aspiration of quitting smoking. Coaches of all stripes are in the transformation business. How many people here have ever had a coach of any kind? Right, that's about 80%, right? At least 80% of the people. Whether it's golf, right? I go to a golf coach to improve my golf game. Whether it's a tennis coach, whether it's a life coach, whether it's an executive coach, whether it's a wellness coach, whether it's a spiritual coach. The number of coaches that have been out there and the types of coaches have exploded over the last 15, 20 years. And every one of them is in the transformation business. I had the opportunity during the pandemic to be able to take my wife and kids actually to Kauai, one of the islands of Hawaii. So there we are on the island seeing this beautiful vistas view. And this actually has nothing to do with transformations, but my accountant said if I showed it to you, I'd be able to write it off on my taxes. But in fact, transformational travel is one of the big growing areas of the tourism industry. There's a Transformational Travel Council that has this manifesto. I love this first line. Travel is pregnant with the possibility of transformation. Why? Because we are most open to change when we travel, when we get out of our normal daily routines. And they're working with hundreds, thousands of tourism companies around the world to help them get into this transformation business, to understand the possibilities that are there with this transformation business. And yet an increasing, growing area. And all of it's about achieving aspirations, about helping your customers achieve their aspirations, whether they're consumers or whether they're businesses. Right? Aspirations are about where are you today, what do you aspire to become? Right? Once you understand where they are today and what they aspire to become, then you design the set of experiences that will take them to that particular aspiration. Whether it's go from student to graduate, from flabby to fit, from sick to well, whatever it might be. Understand your customer's aspirations will enable you to be able to give them the outcomes that they desire. Heartland Health, for example, is a hospital system in St. Joseph, Missouri. It's not one of the higher socioeconomic areas in the United States. And they decided to transform how they did business so they could transform the community. And they took on as their organizing principle, as their meaningful purpose for the entire organization, these three words: live life well. They want their patients to live life well. They want their patients' family members to live life well. They want the community to live life well. They want their employees and associates to live life well so that they have the wherewithal to help their patients, family members, and communities live life well. And what it did is that it changed so much how they did business. They changed their name to Mosaic. They changed their industry from healthcare to life care. They changed how they build their buildings to be able to focus on living life well rather than just treating symptoms and healing diseases. The CEO, Dr. Mark Laney, says that dreams and aspirations live in us all. We all want something better out of life, and by changing healthcare to life care, we can all have it. We can take those dreams and aspirations and develop a roadmap, a life plan that'll help you set milestones and goals. The best part, we'll be right there with you so you don't have to do it alone. That's why transformations are guided. Right? You extract commodities, you make goods, you deliver services, you stage experiences, you guide transformations. Right? You have to be there because they're the one that is actually undergoing the transformation. And if you think about these possibilities for Metamorphosis, in the Harvard Business Review article, the editors made us only focus on personal transformations. That's why that quote earlier said consumers instead of people or organizations. Right? And there are many personal transformations. We all, as human beings, almost all of us are working on some aspect of self, right? Most all of the time. But there's also societal transformations. In the Transformational Travel Council, they work on personal, but they also work on societal. That you go someplace and help make a difference in the lives of others when you travel, but that also makes a difference in your own life. And then there are also organizational transformations as well, whether B2B clients. And one of the things I always say to companies that if you sell to other businesses, no one ever buys your offering because they want your offering. It's but a means to an end. And then you sell the end rather than the means, and you'll gain much more economic value. And so there's also internal organizational transformations. And we also need to think, I've spent a lot of time over the last couple of years, particularly during the pandemic, working on employee experiences to give them the experiences that they need. We also wrote an article for Duke Dialogue Journal this year on employment as transformation. That we need to think of the employment of our people in a time of the great resignation and quiet quitting and all of that as a transformation for them, right? Also for the company, but for them. Because time is the currency of experiences, and employment needs to be seen not as an end in itself, but as a means to an end. Not just finding someone to work, but simultaneously regarding the time at work as the very substance of transforming people from one set of capabilities to another. To do otherwise means treating human beings in mere utilitarian means. And as Immanuel Kant taught us, that's immoral. Human beings should never be treated as means. They are always ends. So this then is what's going on in the world, the progression of economic value. And so let me close by saying that you can stay in the illusory safety of past practices and keep on doing the same things you've always been doing, then mark my words, you will be commoditized. Or you can shift up this progression of economic value to staging experiences and ideally guiding transformations within each one of your individual customers, and then you'll be economically rewarded. Thanks for your time.
We're running very quickly out of time, but still I want to ask you one question. So we heard from Floris already that this quote is still with me, protect me from what I want.
Yeah.
At the same time, you say, well, transformations is about helping people realize their aspirations, right?
Guide me in what I want to become.
Yeah. And so then we have a room of leaders here, right? Leaders, all of this, people here in the room are leaders. But they have to become coaches. That's the essence of what you're saying. So how do you become a coach? When you're a leader, how do you metamorphose yourself into a coach? What would be your most important advice?
My smart answer is get a coach's coach to coach you into becoming a coach. Yeah. But it is a matter of recognizing, knowing your individual people enough to know what their aspirations are, to have that relationship where they're honest with you about what they're trying to achieve. Even people that will be honest and admit, my goal is to work somewhere else at some point, right? Well, that's fine. Then how do we create the best value from us that will also create the best value for you that comes out there? So, and then there is a lot of training and techniques that you can learn about how to coach people, of which the number one skill is listening. If you're a coach, the number one skill you need is listening and understanding where they are, what their actual situation is, and only then to be able to help prescribe them, help them work through, and recognize that, again, it's guide. Coach is a guide, right? You're guiding. You're not doing it for them. You're not telling them what to do, but you're guiding them along that path, that journey that they need to take.
Very interesting. So thank you very much for inspiring us today. And you're around, so if people have questions,
absolutely,
please go to Joe directly and ask your questions. Joe, thank you very much.
Thank you.